Welcome everybody to Inside the Cardinal Playbook, the coach's show for William Jewell College athletics. And we start today's program with Jill Cress, head women's basketball coach. The Cardinals wrap up their year in the first round of the Great Lakes Valley Conference tournament, losing at Truman State. But with everything that's gone on this year and the injuries we'll talk about, congratulations for even being there. That was a big deal.
Yeah, actually, to make playoffs again is a compliment to our players. I know they were disappointed. I was disappointed not being able to get to Evansville again because, again, that's a really neat venue. And I thought we played hard against Truman and fought back and did some things. And so, record-wise, not a great year, but there are some high points also through the year.
This is our second year really competitively in the Great Lakes Valley Conference, which we're eligible for the playoffs, and you've been in the playoffs both years with a win in the first round last year. How did this year in the first round and last year in the first round differ, except for, of course, the home court thing?
Yeah, I mean, the home court was nice.
Is it the deciding factor, you think?
No, I mean, there's definitely advantage when a team has to drive a ways, especially in our conference. You're going to drive a ways unless you're Rockers and us playing each other. But Bellarmine had to come up last year the night before, and that's quite a drive to do that. So I think anytime you can play at home is an advantage. Going to Truman State was just kind of a different feeling. I think last year we were really playing well towards the end of the season. This year we really struggled towards the end of the season. So I think it was just kind of a different feel going into that game. We talked about what we needed to do to win it. And Truman State is their first year in the conference outside the MIAA, and I know they were pretty focused, and they're, she does a nice job, and they're a good team, and we just came up short.
Let's talk a little bit about how the game went. First of all, your injuries. Cassie Nicolay did not play in the season finale. She had hurt her knee. How much was she available to you against Truman State?
Actually, she's such a competitive person and really wanted to play. She ended up playing about 35 minutes. Was she the same Cassie? Probably not. Same heart, and she worked really hard. Maybe not quite as mobile, but she did some nice things for us in the game, and I know it was. She was pretty determined to go out there. You just kind of saw her when she was going to play, and I know she was really disappointed, as all our seniors were disappointed, and I think our whole team was, because I know there are some things there as far as just missed rebounds again, maybe getting them to the free throw line too much, that things that maybe we could have controlled a little bit better, and would have had the opportunity to maybe knock them off.
I know how you feel about injuries and that sort of thing, so this is kind of a delicate question, but were you surprised she played 35 minutes after that knee injury?
I'm kind of an ignore the injury kind of deal until they come and tell me, and unless the trainer does. And I know Cassie, if she could go, she was going to go. And I know, talking to the trainers, I would never put a player in a spot where it was going to hurt them for life or put them in a dangerous situation. But the trainers were okay with it. They did an MRI and it looked. She's at a doctor today getting it looked at again. But senior last game. Potentially last game, she was going to play if she could. Right. And, that's kind of how we went.
Speaking of seniors in their last game, Chelsea Meeks finished up her career and had a really nice game, it sounded like.
Yeah, she is such a competitor. I mean, you look at her, I think I have her listed at 5'5". She's 5'3", and plays hard all the time. And I know, because other teams, a lot of problems matching up with her, because they look at her and they think they can guard her, but she just gets by, and I was happy for her to have the game that she did, on her last game. I know she would have given that up to be able to play one more, but it was nice for her to be able to finish out like that.
Truman was her last game as a collegian. Now, what's kind of her, and especially her and Cassie's legacy here? Both 1,000-point scores, I guess, is where you start.
Yeah, I think they've done so much for our program, especially when you look at going from NAIA. They were recruited NAIA players with the possibility of going Division II, and so they made that adjustment really well, and kind of took them on their shoulders as far as getting us to Division II. I think we moved and became more competitive quicker than what a lot of people thought we would, and a lot of that goes to with Cassie and Chelsea just being the competitors that they are, and accepting that challenge and going after it, not giving excuses. They never gave excuses for our team or for themselves, and I think they were a big part of our transition and the success that we've had going from NAIA to NCAA in a short amount of time.
Your third senior is somebody that doesn't show up in the box score so much, but somebody that brought a lot of heart to the program, and that's Jess Wheeler. And we talk about the 1,000 points scored by Meeks and Nicolay, but here's a kid that maybe scored more than 1,000 points in terms of what she meant to your team.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jess Wheeler's really special to me, and they all are. But she's somebody that's always accepted her role and always has put the team first, and that's tough for kids to do, especially kids coming in that, all these players coming in were really good high school players and played a lot of time and started, and she accepted that role, and part of it was I didn't start her because she brought so much energy off the bench, and I've had other players in the past maybe not grab that role quite as well.
Oh, yeah, it's tough.
Jess always did, never complained about it. And the other thing is, I think she's a great teammate to everybody. The new kids coming in, she was always somebody that was good to everybody and made everybody feel welcome and important, and always kept things in perspective. She's pretty special to me, and her family's really special to me.
You talk all the time about the role of family in your program, and Jess is one, but you've had several through the years, and I know that means a lot to you because it's not just the points you put up or the rebounds or whatever, it's how you fit in.
Yeah, and actually, I think when I think back about my college career, I think about the players more than the wins and losses, and I think that's I'm not sure players realize that until they get out. You want to win, but it's really those relationships and that time spent, and I think Jess really got that and did a nice job with really building that for our program.
Season's over now. You look toward the future after this season, which you're below 500. What does the future hold for your team? Well,
I told them we're not going to do this again. And I think our players learned a lot. And from a coaching staff, it starts with me. I'm disappointed with myself in a lot of areas. Maybe that I didn't put an emphasis on as much. I think you learn from those things. You learn from an 11-16 season, and build on it and hopefully turn that around. I just don't. It's kind of like going through a loss on a game. I don't think you've lost, unless you don't learn anything from it. And it's the same thing with this. You learn from it and you turn it around next year, and you do some of the things that maybe you didn't do well this year. You get them and put an emphasis on it and do them better.
I think, too, that we see and have seen here in the last, 3 years of GLVC competition, being eligible for the tournament twice, I think that we're starting to figure out the Division II thing and what we need and what we don't need, and not just in basketball, but in all our sports. And I'm thinking you must agree with that a little bit.
I'll be honest with you. It is a transition, and I'm not sure if you realize it as much until you're in it a couple of years.
Right.
And it's just it's different. You have to recruit a little differently. You have to coach a little differently, I think. And those are all adjustments for us as a coaching staff, and then adjustments for the players. Just as far as the physicalness and that kind of deal is the strength and has been a big change for us. And I think we're getting it figured out, like you said, and we'll be able to get up there and compete where we want to be able to compete.
I know that you need the break after the season, but I can't wait to see what next year's team is going to be. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's nice to have a break. Maybe not this early, but I always get refreshed and excited about every year. Even when you have the same players back, it's a different year, different season, different feel, and that's an exciting part as a coach.
Well, I thank you for everything you've put in on this show and throughout the year, and sorry it has to end like this, but it ends always at some point, and I can't, like I said, wait till next year.
Thanks, Rick.
Jill Cress has been our guest here inside the Cardinal Playbook. We should note that Larry Holly normally is on our program, but their bus broke down. They got stuck coming back from Bellarmine in the first round where they dropped their game to the Knights, and so we'll catch up with Larry Holly when we have a chance. We'll be back with more inside the Cardinal Playbook in just a moment.
It's a great win for our program. Really happy for our players.
I really love the Hy-Vee Fuel Saver program because there's no limit to what you can buy. I work on Monday nights, so I make sure I pick up a pizza. They're usually a 5 to 15 cent fuel saver. It's an easy discount and an easy meal for the kids. The most I've saved with gas was $2.08 a gallon. When I saw how much it was, I kind of did a little dance up and down. I took a picture, of course, of what I saved, and then I sent it to my husband, who then posted on Facebook that I went back in time and saved money on gas today.
Back inside the Cardinal Playbook with our second segment, we visit with head track and field coach Tom Eisenhauer, who brings back 2 medalists from the GLVC Indoor Track and Field Championship. Blake Alexander and Satoa Talamatasi each win silver medals. Congratulations with your very young team going to the indoors.
Thank you, and thanks for having me, Rick.
Sure.
Always love coming in here and talking with you. So it was a great meet. You know, it's as we talked last week, we knew it was going to be tough for us being a young team. We knew we didn't have a lot of depth, so we had the expectations as far as the team score that we were, team-wise, we finished about exactly where we expected to finish. But we had a lot of great individuals step up and do some fantastic things. You talked about Satoa and Blake. Not only did Satoa take second, but she also broke a school record in the shot put. So her marker of 13.47 meters is the equivalent of 44 feet and 2.5 inches. So great toss by her. And she had broken that record earlier this year. And actually, that was the third time that she had broken it this season. So
she's having a great year.
She's having a great year, absolutely. Blake Alexander took second in the hurdles, ran 8.25 seconds. So not quite his school record, but it's right there, and competed well with a lot of fast guys, and there, in fact, there was actually disqualification in the finals of that race, and so sometimes with the men's high hurdles, you get a lot of really good hurdlers together, and elbows are being thrown, and feet are clipping, and hurdles are getting kicked, and so it's kind of a wild ride.
Well, let's talk about Blake a little bit, because here's a freshman guy coming in and contributing immediately for you in his first collegiate meets. Where is he from, and what kind of competitor is he?
He's from Stratford, Missouri, just in the Springfield area, and just a very, very talented young man, very driven young man. A lot of fun to be around. At practice, he's all business, doesn't have a lot to say, but just puts in the hard work, and then you get him on the bus, you get him on anywhere outside of practice, and he's a lot of fun. And in fact, it's kind of neat that he and Satoa both play second, because they're both a lot alike. They're both very outgoing, very energetic, and they both like to have a lot of fun. So, he chose Jewell because of our nursing program. We're one of the few schools that allows you to compete at a high level of athletics and go through a nursing program for 4 years.
Really challenging program.
Absolutely. Our location is one of the great things that provides that opportunity for students, and so we're fortunate that he joined us. And he came out of high school as a 2-time state champion, and has just really stepped up and been a competitor, like you said, on the college scene right away. And he's only a freshman, so he's going to get stronger. He's going to spend more time in the weight room, and so I really expect him to make the national meet for sure his sophomore year, his realistic goal.
Satoa, you talk about the ultimate gym rat and that personality that goes along with it. She is always in the gym, and a sophomore here. Has she taken a gigantic step here, or was it kind of expected between her freshman and sophomore year that she would come to this level?
No, she really has taken a gigantic step. When we recruited her, it wasn't for her shot put abilities. She only threw the shot in high school about 36, 37 feet, so it really wasn't the mark that stood out. We were more interested in her ability to throw the discus and what we viewed as the potential to be a great weight throw and hammer thrower. And so with her this year, coming along with the shot the way she has, that was really, I would say, was a surprise for our entire coaching staff. A good surprise. I'm glad it happened. Yeah. So, and she's a very explosive young lady, and she's a hard worker. She likes to have a lot of fun, but at the core of it, she's a competitor and she wants to compete.
You're talking about Blake being involved in the nursing program, but Satoa, for instance, is also a manager on the women's basketball team, and so again, that's kind of that Jewell thing. You can do a lot of different things when you're here.
Yeah, and she works for the intramural, so
right.
Like you said, she's a gym rat.
Keeping in mind that this is a very young team, 2 young teams you take to the GLVC indoors, who else had a good meet for you?
Well, Margaret Perko had a fantastic meet. In this, she qualified in both the 60-meter hurdles and the long jump. She actually broke the school record in the long jump. Wow. Her leap of 5.4 meters beat Sarah Shippey's record of 5.39 meters. So just barely eached over it, but that's 17 feet 8 3/4 of an inch. So big jump for her. It's a very deep field this year, and so it's one of those things. Unfortunately, you go in, you break school record, and you get 8th place with it. But like I said, a deep field in the long jump, probably the most competitive long jump field in the conference that I've ever seen. So a lot of those girls are going to graduate, which is great for Margaret. Opportunities will open up. She also placed 4th in the hurdles. She ran 8.91 seconds in the prelims, and then came back and ran 8.94 seconds in the finals. And so, those are her 2 fastest times of the season. So she's really come right in step. We were able to get her to run her fastest when we needed her to. And so, but she's also a competitor, and so, as a coach, you can only do so much to prepare these athletes. And when you get to the meet, you have to let them go and do their thing. And a lot of times the kids that have the most competitive drive are going to be the ones that step up and do great things.
Yeah, they rise to the occasion.
I do need to mention Jessica Shockley.
Okay.
She broke the school record last week in the 800, and then she broke it again this weekend.
Oh, nice.
So, we had 3 school records go down this weekend by our women's team. We had a freshman thrower, Mariah Bernard. She made it to the finals in the weight throw. Unfortunately, take 9 to finals. She got 9th, so she didn't score. And then Jessica Goldsberry, who's also a sophomore, she had the 8th fastest qualifying time out of prelims. Unfortunately, they take the heat winners the next fastest time, so there was a heat winner with a slower time that made it into the finals ahead of her. And so, we talk about being a young team. Yeah, we have Satoa and Margaret doing great things, but with these other girls on the bubble, we've got freshman Julia Parker from here in the Liberty area, went to Liberty North High School, and she placed 7th in the pentathlon. It was her first time doing that event ever. So a lot of exciting things on the women's side. And then the men's side, you've got Blake Alexander and Trevor Nix, freshman thrower from Owensville, Missouri. He placed 8th in both throwing events. Oh. Now, what really makes that a great thing is he was the only freshman thrower in the men's events to even be in the finals, let alone score. Yeah. And so on the men's side, it becomes difficult because you go from a 12-pound shot in high school to a 16-pound shot in college.
So that's pretty impressive.
It takes time to learn, and it takes time to grow and get stronger. And so he stepped in right away and had some. I believe it was a PR in the weight throw, but I think it was his second best throw in the shot. And then, fantastic job by him. Senior Chris Speed, he took 6th in the heptathlon, had a personal best in that event, and so we'll be sad to see him go. Chris Speed's a great young man, and with a name like Speed.
I was going to say, for track, that's great.
Yeah. So.
Okay. The transition between indoor and outdoor, what do you do now?
Now we try to rest up. It takes a lot of toll on you to go to this meet. We leave on a Wednesday night, we drive for 4 hours, stay the night, get up the next morning, drive another 4 hours, we go and practice. The competition is a 2-day competition. You spend a lot of time at the track, and then we drive home over the night. Yeah. Unfortunately, due to the weather, we actually spent 5 hours stopped on the interstate.
Really?
Due to an accident up the road ahead of us, and so we didn't even get back onto campus until about 8:30 Sunday morning, and so there's no rest for the weary because these kids got to get up and go to class the next day, and they still have homework to do. So, it's part of being a student athlete, though, and so keeping those things in mind, physical and mental. We give them this week. We basically go to voluntary practices, so they'll be in the weight room 2 days this week, but for the most part, we want them in the training room, rehabbing, recovering, and just rest. I mean, rest is the best thing they can do right now. Yeah. We want to give them an opportunity to catch up on schoolwork if they need to, and then after this week, we'll begin our outdoor practices. Hopefully, the snow will melt.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we'll just go straight into it, and we'll have an outdoor meet basically every Saturday from here on to the conference championships.
When is the first one, the first outdoor?
Well, the first one will be Saturday, March 22nd, and we're doing something kind of new this year for us. We're going to load up a bus and head down to Kingsville, Texas, and compete at Texas A&M Kingsville. We're going to chase the warm weather. We're learning a lesson from baseball and softball, and we're going south.
Good, all right.
So last year we were in Mizzou during that week, and it was 20 degrees and cold, and so
the Igloo Invitational, right?
Yeah. So we're going south, and then we'll chase some marks, chase some warm weather, and give the kids a chance to have a little bit of spring break.
Right,
so.
Right. All right, Tom, thank you very much. And again, congratulations to Alexander and Talmatasi for their second-place finishes at the GLVC indoor meet. Coming up next, more on Inside the Cardinal Playbook.
Poor Boy Oil Company is and always has been locally owned and operated. We promise convenience and service with small-town values. We want you to choose Poor Boy again and again, whether you're looking for a hot cup of coffee to help start your day, grabbing lunch at midday, picking up milk at the end of the day, or heading for a Cardinal game any day. We're here to help you get you on your way quickly. Most stores are open 24 hours, so we're here when you need us. Poor Boy Oil Company. Find us around the Northland, wherever the Cardinals fly.
Hi, I'm Rachel Callaghy, Head Connections Specialist with Welcome Opportunities, the Northland's only target marketing firm that specializes in turning the thousands of new residents who move to our area each year into your customers. We are the advertising option that's never turned off, torn up, or tossed out. At least not yet, anyway. So if you're looking for the most cost-effective way to reach prospective customers before your competitors, give me a call today at 816-883-8633 or visit my website at welcomeopportunities.com.
Mike Stockton joins us inside the Cardinal Playbook to talk about the first baseball series of the season. It was quite an adventure for you, and I don't know where to start, but let's talk about your 15-hour bus ride back. That was quite an adventure, I'm sure. What was that like?
Yeah, we were supposed to be home early in the morning, and we got home late in the morning.
Yeah.
We left the ballpark in San Antonio at about 3:30, and on Sunday, and didn't get home until about 10:30 Monday morning. So we were 15 hours straight.
Well, let's talk about the baseball, because that was played in pretty good weather. At least the first day you said it was 80 degrees and a great chance to be outside for you guys.
Oh, the weather was perfect. It was 80 degrees every day, and short sleeves. Guys got a little bit of sun on their face, and it was BP outside. It was beautiful. I mean, everything about the weekend was great.
Including the first game, which you won against a team that had played, 15 games outside already?
Yeah, they had played quite a few games, and it was our first game of the season. We came out like it was our 15th game of the season. I was really proud of how we didn't let any nerves get to us. We really, I felt like, dictated the tempo of the game, and we just played great. And you know, you're as good as your pitching is a lot of times, and our pitching was just fabulous this weekend. But I think what happened was our pitching calmed us down and gave us a chance to play well. And so with David Collins starting that first game, he threw a gem, complete game, and that just calmed the rest of us down, and we played exceptionally well.
You win the first game and then drop the next two, but they were close games and very competitive. And again, your starting pitching sounded like it was very good.
Yeah, our pitching was great all weekend. Even a couple of guys we brought in relief. Shoot, I felt like, you know, before the series started, we were really talking about how are we going to use our bullpen, and we've got a deep pitching staff, and these guys are going to play these different roles. And the next thing you know, our three starters are pitching complete games and deep into it. So that was a little different. We were ready to use the bullpen, but we just didn't have to because the starters did so well and the pitch count stayed down, so it allowed them to stay into the ball game later. But it was just overall was a great experience for us. I felt like we really dictated the game. We were in charge. We were dictating the tempo. We were creating, the runs. And just the last couple of innings, we just didn't finish the game.
Let's break it down a little bit. You talked about David in the first game pitching well. You win that game. What were the highlights?
Well, the highlights was obviously David's pitching performance. Zach Tyson played exceptionally well. There were a couple of key blocks. David threw the ball in the dirt with runner at third base that we blocked the ball. Zach also threw a runner out trying to steal late in the game that, just really they were starting to create a little bit of momentum. And, that would have been a runner in scoring position late in the game, and they get a hit, and the next thing you know, we would have been down, and Zach threw him out. So that was great to see him. He played extremely well. And Coleman Wahid was a a big guy for us this weekend. All 3 games, Coleman played exceptionally well.
Played a shortstop?
He played shortstop. He played really good defense. You know, sometimes the great plays are just the routine plays.
Absolutely.
And Coleman made the routine plays for us. And he also stole a base, and he was a big guy to play for us. He came up with some clutch hits. He had big-time RBIs. He scored some of the major runs for us. I mean, Coleman showed us the kind of player that he can be. And if he continues to work and progress as this kind of player that we saw this weekend, I mean, I think Coleman's going to be a special player.
Well, it's no small thing to say that he was making the routine plays, considering you haven't been on dirt and grass yet.
Yeah, we hadn't practiced outside on a baseball field one time.
Right.
And so that was, you know, you never want to make excuses as a coach. You always want to say, no excuses, we're going to go down there and just play this game the right way without, blaming anything. And that's exactly what we did. We had so many things going against us, and it affected us in no way.
Yeah.
And it was so good to see the team perform that way.
Game 2 against St. Mary's, you dropped that one, but what was Saturday's game like?
Well, Preston Felgate pitched for us on Saturday, and he threw a fantastic game for us, and went deep into the game, and he deserved to win that game. But sometimes you don't always get what you deserve, and that's baseball, and it'll tear you up. But we played a great baseball game. We played good defense. We ran the bases well. We had runners in scoring position. I felt like we were always pressuring them, and we just could not. Saturday's game boiled down to us not getting a hit with the runner in scoring position. And we had the lead into the 7th inning. I mean, we had the lead almost the entire game, and then we just couldn't get that one more run throughout the ball game, and then in the 7th they came back and tied it up, and then eventually went on to take the lead.
On this Sunday, the final game of the series against St. Mary's, you go extra innings, and that was kind of a heartbreaker.
No, it was a real heartbreaker because, again, we felt like that we had dictated the tempo and the outcome of the game for 9 innings. I mean, we were the aggressor. We were taking the game to them. We had a 2-run lead going into the bottom of the 9th, and then it just fell apart for us a little bit. Drew Matrician pitched a heck of a game. We did so many good things defensively. We had some quality at bats. Again, there were some opportunities in the middle of the game where if we would have gotten a key hit here or there, it would have given us a bigger cushion. So you don't want to say it boils down to one thing, because we could have scored some more runs, but really the bottom of the 9th we kind of fell apart a little bit.
In what way?
Well, just not finishing. In the way, instead of, for 8 innings, we were the dictators. We decided the tempo. We were in control of the game, and I felt like in the 9th inning, it was, okay, just hang on now. And when you're just trying to hang on, that's when bad things happen. And, they got a couple of timely hits, and we made a couple of costly errors, and, the next thing you know, what went from 8 innings of us winning is determined in 1 inning that now they win the game.
The skipper has been with us here. It's Mike Stockton, just off the bus, 15 hours overnight, and we appreciate you jumping in here and visiting with us about that first series against St. Mary's. We will be back with a final word on Inside the Cardinal Playbook after.
The best day of your life will go by in a blur. We created Storybook Wedding KC to capture every memory for you in a beautiful video. Relive each moment in a way photographs can't do alone. You will hear the emotion in his voice as he promises to love you forever. See the way your beautiful dress flows as you walk down the aisle and dance at your reception. Listen to your loved ones share their best memories of you or heartfelt advice that you will cherish years from now when they are gone. Feel like a celebrity as Storybook Wedding KC films your best moments to be shared and treasured forever.
That's Inside the Cardinal Playbook for this week, and we thank our coaches Jill Cress, Tom Eisenhauer, and Mike Stockton for visiting with us on this show. We will not have an Inside the Cardinal Playbook for you next week, but in 2 weeks we'll be back with more insight into Cardinal athletics on Inside the Cardinal Playbook.